The Israeli military has confirmed that the strikes aimed at Hezbollah's headquarters in Beirut has killed Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah. Israeli airstrikes targeted, remember, 6 buildings in Beirut's southern suburb of Heret Herik, marking the largest assault in the Lebanese capital amid nearly a year of ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. Now, Nasrallah, remember, had been at the helm of the Lebanese militant group for the past 3 decades, significantly strengthening its position as one of the most formidable paramilitary organizations in the Middle East. Now, IDF's tweet, in fact, said that Hassan Nasrallah will no longer be able to terrorize the world, thereby confirming that they had neutralized Nasrallah. My colleague Ghazali joins us with more details. Ghazali, now take us through the latest in terms of Nasrallah's death and the consequences post that for the Hezbollah.
See, the IDF has just issued a statement saying that they have successfully managed to kill Hassan Nasrallah. He was the Secretary General of the Shiite militia group called Hezbollah. And as we all know, it is part of the axis of resistance, as Iran calls it. It's basically part of one of the proxy militias of Iran which operates in the Middle East. Hezbollah as a group is based in Lebanon, was headed by Hassan Nasrallah. Hassan Nasrallah has been the Secretary General of Hezbollah for the last 20 years or so. And he has been a very key figure in the region because every time Israel escalated the situation in Gaza, it was the Hezbollah which would react here on the northern border of Israel by launching rockets. And for the last couple of months, of late, we had seen that how Hezbollah had been launching rockets towards the northern area of Israel. The northern area residents of Israel had to move out from there. Israeli government had to evacuate those residents. More than a lakh of residents had to leave that area and move to other locations in Israel. Israeli Prime Minister yesterday at United Nations had claimed that perhaps the bigger challenge for Israel right now is to ensure that all these residents go back to their own houses, residences on the northern border. That means that Hezbollah has to be checked. And this strike yesterday, while Mr. Netanyahu was addressing the United Nations, a precision strike is struck at the central headquarters of Hezbollah in Beirut. And today, now IDF has claimed that Hassan Nasrallah, the Hezbollah chief, has been killed. And despite that, attacks continue in Beirut, southern and northern Beirut both. And besides Beirut, there have been attacks in Syria as well by Israel. Israel claims that they are trying to now eliminate all the threats, all the areas where Hezbollah used to store their arms and ammunition, anti-tank missiles, anti-aircraft missiles, or any kind of missiles or rockets which are being fired into Israel by Hezbollah. All those command centers and storehouses are being attacked by Israel. Israel claims that these are being hid, or the Hezbollah was operating from residential areas, and that is why these civilian areas are also under attack. Israel also claims that before launching these aerial strikes, they are warning the citizens to leave the area, but the local sources within Lebanon are claiming that even within minutes of these warnings from Israel, the attacks continue, giving no chance to these residents to leave those buildings. And that is why since Monday, since the pager attack or the pager explosion in Lebanon, in the last 1 week, more than 700 people have been killed. Many are homeless, many are displaced and are moving from one direction to another in Beirut, and many people are severely injured as well. Israel also senses now that since Hassan Nasrallah, the Hezbollah chief, has been killed, and many Hezbollah commanders have also been killed in multiple blasts and aerial precision strikes, it also senses that perhaps it can go for a ground invasion. They have hinted for so, but as of now, the situation remains tense because Iran has also not reacted to the entire development since last evening. Since yesterday, since Netanyahu was addressing the United Nations, Israeli army, Israeli media started playing the story that Hassan Nasrallah has been killed, but an official confirmation has come now, and we'll have to see that how other players in this conflict react, because even yesterday when the Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, was asked about it, he had said that from now onwards, the path chosen by Middle Eastern players will decide their fate or future. So we'll have to see that whether the Iran's proxies in different regions like Houthis in Yemen, Shiite militia in Iraq, and even the remaining members of Hezbollah, whether they will attack or retaliate in a joint attack, because Iran has avoided getting dragged into this war since Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas chief, was killed in Tehran 2 months ago. So we'll have to see that how other players in this entire conflict will react to this development. As of now, the US, UK, France, and other global leaders or the global powers are keeping an eye on this development. But very clearly, Israel has given an indication that despite all the talks of ceasefire and a truce for war on both fronts, towards Gaza with Hamas and towards Lebanon with Hezbollah, Israel is not going to accept any ceasefire or any kind of truce until it eliminates the top leadership of both the parties, be it Hamas or Hezbollah.
Right, Ghazali, stay on with us. I'm also being joined at this point by West Asia strategist Wail Awad. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Awad. Now, talking about this particular development, not just Nasrallah, but the IDF also saying that they have eliminated Ali Karki, the commanders of Hezbollah's southern front, as well as several other Hezbollah commanders as well. Does this indicate on a slight, say, de-escalation in this particular area, especially now that the Hezbollah seems to have lost so many leaders?
Thank you, Aarti. I don't buy the Israelis' narration till now, because this is only from the Israeli army news we are getting. Right. Nothing has been confirmed from the Hezbollah or from Lebanon authorities about whereabouts is Mr. Hassan Nasrallah or his commander. Nevertheless, we can say that Israel have attacked the headquarters, but everybody knows that the headquarters, he was not there, but there are still, it is in doubt. Having said that, I would say that there is nothing going to change the ongoing war, because as we talk right now, the United States have given enough weapon to Israel, ammunition. They have used a 2,000-pound bomb and bombing the south of Beirut. They have taken more than 6-7 buildings, which is considered to be headquarters of Hezbollah party. And then now they are attacking indiscriminately and killing the maximum number of civilians in this target. But I don't see, I think the role of the game has changed, Aarti. And Hezbollah now, it's all open war against Israel, whether it is on the Haifa or Tel Aviv or anywhere, they will start their attack retaliation. This is one of the most important areas where Israel is giving the pretext that they're attacking Hezbollah stronghold in Beirut. It is among the civilian and they're giving shelter. This is all to deceive the public opinion. Those kind of rocket where you have to launch, where Hezbollah is launching, you need enough space to launch it, and that's impossible to put it in a most congested residential area in Beirut. So I think for the moment, we just have to wait and see what is the response from the leader of Hezbollah and the resistance forces in Lebanon.
Right, Dr. Awad, now, like you mentioned, there's another aspect to this. Yes, a terrorist or a terrorist organization considered by the US and the Israel perhaps has been neutralized. But the question of civilian lives that have been lost, although Israel says that they did ask people to move out or evacuate from that area before they started launching their attacks, we do know that there have been civilian casualties. And that is collateral damage when it comes to war, and that still has not been addressed, sir.
I think that is the wrong conception. People understand that Israel is seriously human and loving the peace of the people and doesn't want to kill civilians. What was achieved by Israel in Gaza Strip, as you know, they have already 100% displaced 2.5 million people. They have destroyed 85% of the infrastructure of Gaza. And they are already killed and injured more than 150, plus 12,000 are missing. Do you think that seriously they consider civilians are, that they are taking shelter and all? First, they told you Shifa hospital, there is an underground, then a tunnel. Then they destroyed the hospital. They killed the doctor. They killed everybody. And then they say, oh, where is the tunnels they were talking about? There, the media has to expose the lies on the other side. So even then, when they started killing the telecommunication system, pager, telecommunication, laptops, and talkie-walkie, and tomorrow maybe your washing machine or my TV or your TV can be blown off. And that is, you are killing a militant or you're killing a civilian. You may have killed some of the militants, no doubt about it, but you have killed the majority of them civilian. And Israel, in the first 48 hours, they have killed civilians more than they have killed in 2006. So what does it mean? If you're having a leader who is only wanted this war is himself and his cabinet, Mr. Netanyahu, that the rest of the world does not this war, then beat it. Now bear the consequences. Right. You started this war, it's not going to finish according to your own terms.
Right, stay on with us. Ghazali, now, We had seen that Nasrallah especially had been seen as an icon because his messages would be telecast on TV, would be telecast on radio as well. And the Hezbollah has fought several wars against Israel under him. But if this turns out to be true, what is the kind of fallback that Israel can expect?
See, right now, Israel is also bracing for a full-blown war because the way it has proceeded in this entire operation in the last 24 hours, that despite US and France and other countries vehemently asking for de-escalation, Israel is still continued with this operation while talking about peace in the United Nations. An assassination operation was going on in Beirut. So somewhere Israel knows that since Hezbollah has been weakened after a series of explosions in Beirut since Monday, real strikes, a precision strike which Israel calls it, Hezbollah is certainly weaker but not down and out. And we know that how Iran backs them here in Lebanon. Iran also has been supporting Houthis in Yemen. Iraqi Shia militias have been firing drones and rockets from Iraq. So certainly what looks very imminent, that if Iran is a bit willing to drag itself into the war, then a joint attack looks very imminent with the kind of happenings in Beirut right now. But I have a question for Mr. Awad once that, Mr. Awad, do you think that Iran has many a times Iran has been issuing this statement in the last 1 year that after every attack, after every assassination or even attempted assassination, Iran continues to issue a statement saying that Israel has crossed a red line. Now, if we go by Iran's statement, Israel has, I think, has crossed these red lines many a times. Do you think this time Iran will actively get into the play, or will it still operate through its proxies in the Middle East?
Oh, very good questions. I believe that the Iranian is not a question here, Ghazali, of the proxies or a proof. There is an occupation of Lebanese territories which has to be liberated by anybody. So whether Hezbollah or anybody could be in power, they have to liberate it. Secondly, Hezbollah has been getting the support of Iran for years, since 1979 and since 1982 invasion of Lebanon by Israel, as you know, and it was only the Lebanese Hezbollah who could liberate the south of Lebanon from Israeli occupation. So therefore, the war was already on. Iran have made it very clear that Hezbollah cannot be left alone, especially when the rest of the world is supporting Israel. So therefore, I don't see they will be quiet. They may be restraining because of the UN General Assembly, because of the American election. Are they sending good feelers to the Iranian and telling them that do not interfere, because that is what Netanyahu wants to drag you and Hezbollah and Lebanon into an open war. So there could be some restraint, but Iran have made it very clear they will retaliate for the killing of Ismail Haniyeh, and they will not, nobody can stop them. And they do not need a proxy to retaliate. They have done it earlier with the American in Iraq. They have done it earlier with Israel this time. And this time, trust me, they will do it against Israel. But as I said, are we willing to go for all open war? The whole of Europe, the whole of the world is saying no to the war. Who's saying who want the war except Netanyahu?
Right. Thank you, Ghazali and Awad, for joining us. Right, Ghazali, I think you have a question for Mr. Awad. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Awad, Mr. Awad, just another question right now, that yesterday when Mr. Netanyahu was addressing the United Nations, most of the leaders of the Arab nations had left, Palestine and Saudi Arabia to be precise, but other nations as well. Netanyahu showed two maps, with one showing a scarce and other one like that's the hope for the Middle East. In the map which he termed as scarce, he was showing the entire Levant belt of Syria and Lebanon and Palestine. Palestine was no more shown there. West Bank and Gaza was not on the map. Do you think that despite his bold approach towards this occupation, which everybody recognizes, the international forum recognizes, do you think that US will be in any position now to take a moral high ground of talking about de-escalation or a ceasefire? Because Netanyahu has been clearly violating those talks or going against whatever the US has been suggesting.
Well, I think you have answered it. And many people raising the question, he should not be having at the UN General Assembly. He should have been in Hague, because there is a case against him, and he should be prosecuted for a crime against humanity, what he did in Gaza and what he's doing in Lebanon currently. But I believe that the Israelis' public opinion, maybe the right wing are supporting him, but believe me, the rest of the world does not want this war to start, because everybody knows that it's civilian. It is the poor will be dying. So I don't think this man in power, as long as he prolongs this war, he will create a havoc for the American and for the rest of the world. Let me remind you and the viewers, the greater Israel map, which he has been not showing to the rest of the world. Let him show you at the Knesset what he has put on the front door of the Knesset entry, that the map of Israel, Great Israel, from the Euphrates to Sinai Peninsula, which means Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, the peninsula, and 1/3 of Saudi Arabia is all that territory they are taking and dreaming that they can make a greater Israel and destroy the Al-Aqsa Mosque and build up the Solomon Temple where they are planning to. If that is based on ideology, I don't think any country can survive or will be doomed to be based on an ideology, because history has taught us that you have to live in peace, you have to coexist, and war will not give you any peace, and no way you can achieve peace. And perpetual provocation